Welcome. Hello. I've got about 5 minutes of memory, I'd say, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Okay, so yeah, welcome, and thanks very much to Ross and Leila for showing up again for the torture.
Party for the biscuits.
So it's Ross
The
up
biscuits
this
were put in the
time.
battery.
Always. Probably in front of you. Here, it doesn't matter. Okay. So here we go. So I suppose, Ross, you can sit in a way that if you're, just as though you were sitting for everybody. Hi, Virginia. You're just in time. You're not starting.
Sorry, just in time.
Okay. So just kind of remembering anything that helps you to settle as you come to your easel, to tune in a little bit, feel into your ground and, have a drink if you need a drink, roll the shoulders back, shake it off a little bit, do this kind of business, stand with like the victory symbol or something to make you feel like you can do this. And then all the time you could be looking from the model to the board as well, and kind of gradually, almost by osmosis, kind of just glancing as you're setting yourself up. You can be glancing at the model and back to the page. And again, kind of visualizing the space that he might occupy on the page. Okay. Yeah, and then you can kind of start to imagine where would be, what's the simplest information you can put down as the first few moves to begin to find your way in. And I think probably it's going to be, this to be a bit more static. I think probably it's going to be the hair, I'd say, again, I might just start with the shadow around the ear on the left side of the hair, maybe. Yeah, let's just see. You kind of, I suppose it's really just finding a way in, whatever that will be. And I do find it helpful if you've got a palette that you can hold up, that you can see the colour you're in, whereas you're making it, and also you can see if there's a lot of fluidity on the brush. I want it to be fluid, but not to create a lake down there so that the colour won't run away with itself. But everybody's got a really good handle on that. I think here you have the consistency of the paint. You all seem to be managing that brilliantly. So the Van Dyke Brown and the Ultramarine Blue.
Sorry, what did you say? I missed that.
It's a Van Dyke Brown and the Ultramarine Blue. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Let me know if I start to kind of talk to myself over here. Alright. A bit more brown, I think. Yeah. It's always a bit like something has to happen then. So let's see. And I think moving is good. Like even as you're doing it, as you're setting yourself up, kind of just keep yourself moving, and then there's an exhale and a kind of steadying. And finding yourself here again, with just this single move over the ear, that little horizontal of hair, maybe, dark hair that's across over the ear there, and then down the back. And then from there, there'll be something, let's see. Yeah, I think I need a little bit more brown, actually. And if you find that the brown is very, put some brown sienna, because I think the Van Dyke Brown actually could do with a little bit more warmth. So I'm going to use some of the brown sienna just to warm that up a little bit. Yeah, and I think as we go up, it does feel like it gets a little bit warmer, the light on the hair. Feels like it does seem to warm up a little bit there. Okay. And kind of seeking to explain the shape of the hair in such a way that it'll outline to the kind of whatever the shape of the head is from this angle. And the side line the sideburn at the front of the ear there can be helpful maybe just to maybe just paint away for a little while and see. Yeah, so finding the edge of the jaw and how it explains the little bit of the neck. There's a sliver of neck that's coming up to meet the ear here, and that's outlined by the hair coming in and by the jaw, edge of the jaw there. But of course, this could all be moving later on. It might be that I need to shift. You need to shift something like that. If this part of the neck needs to move out in the first instance, if it's still wet, it might be helpful to make a straight edge with the paper towel and shift it that way. It's not lifting it very well there, so you could then, and I'm not sure if it needs to come off, but I think it maybe could do with a bit more space there. So then you could get your, these are the flat, springier brushes. But I think any brush really would do it. You could just kind of agitate the paper so that you're pushing back the line to create a new edge for the neck. And ultramarine blue and Van Dyke brown seem to lift off quite easy. Other colours might be more staining and harder to move. So, but it can be helpful, like you did that lifting off yesterday. It's quite a nice thing to be able to carve back in. But just if you are lifting off, be sure to wash your brush regularly before you go back in, because you might only be pushing back in the colour into the paint. You want your brush to be clean and damp in order to lift off cleanly as best you can. Alright, so let's see now. We'll carry on up for the hair really. And I'm going to do, I never even thought of the time, so 20 minutes, so another maybe 12 minutes or something. Will someone find that? Sure, next. Okay. I'm noticing that there's quite a volume of hair above the forehead, about maybe the height of the forehead again, and the eyebrows sit a little bit above the top of the ear. So there's a kind of a noticing things in general, but then coming back to the particular part that you're painting, and just it can be kind of helpful to notice things as you go, so that they sift their way in. Like, okay, I'm coming across here that the hair is going to be outlining the right side of the forehead. Maybe put a touch more of the burnt sienna in to warm that brown up even more. As it comes across there, there's a kind of nice warmth to it there. And then down this side. Okay. I want to do something in that shoulder, I think. Maybe splashes another 5 minutes. It's even wiping the floor.
Big mark.
Oh yeah, we're fine, so I'm kind of noticing where the shoulder would enter and exit the jawline. Not just where it might enter the face, but where it would also exit, so that you capture the kind of slant of it. And I think once you find the edge of the shoulder, it's possible to then have a bit more freedom with I just didn't want it to be so runny there, so I put more pigment in. Yeah. So what was it? Yeah. So once you find the edge, you can kind of then be fairly free with what happens. You can let the water direct the pigment down, or something. So it's good, I think, to have that, to have the option of a bit of looseness somewhere when you're doing the work of trying to find the face. It's good then to now and then let yourself detonate something off, something general somewhere else. I was just noticing there the edge of the ear comes down to meet the edge of the skin on the top. So I wanted to lift that off, because sometimes you can make the neck very narrow. So just to notice how much skin that there is there, how far over it comes. And it's the make chance essential thing as well. You want to be, can you keep yourself a little bit surprised too? And I think all the time when you're referring back even having painted the same face on a different day, every time it's going to feel different, and it's worth really being curious as to what's here today. And what is it that strikes me about this now? Like, I think actually I need to lift that shoulder a little bit higher. I'm just closing one eye, and it feels like it's going to go, yeah, kind of there-ish more. So I'll just adjust the height of that a little bit. This is the blue goes all over the shop, doesn't it? A bit more brown in there. Yeah, so just kind of lift it up to cover that so that it reads as one again. And then maybe a little bit of that dark brown into the blue, because there's so much blue on there. Just clean it off actually. We'll let me do a bit more of the dark in the hair again on the left side, because it is just darker than anything else really, that little bit of hair behind the ear. And there too. Yeah. I think a lot of the time you're wanting to get yourself into the form to be able to focus. So doing something that's a bit kind of exciting or, freeing up will give a bit of, I think it's really finding confidence or something. So you're not violently making yourself paint an eye first thing. It's kind of a hard step in. So if you can kind of work your way up to it. And actually, since I've still got that in the brush, I might as well bring up the neckline. A bit higher. Maybe higher again. And there's ways of using the brush, like you can pull it up and let it paint itself again on the way back down sometimes, so that there's something kind of happening that you're not in full control of as you do something somewhere else. Okay. And then I wanted to move to this brush because I think it's a better size for explaining the eyebrows, for example. And I think the lowest point of the face is about here. And it may be that I need to move that a little bit, we'll see. Yeah, something like that, but let me just do the eyebrows anyway. It might be that that bit of hair came across the face too much. But you could see from moving it there, I'm not worried really, because it's one layer and it's simple enough to lift off. If the paper hasn't been worked into too much, you can generally lift off colour fairly easily. No. So finding the eyebrow, two directions of the eyebrow, maybe as a way of explaining the shape of the forehead. Looking at the size of the forehead as I'm doing that, and also maybe I might bring the forehead down a touch maybe. I'm conscious too that maybe it's just because this needs to move over that I'm wanting to bring the forehead down, so let's just see. Maybe there's some of the eyebrow here is cut off by the hair. I'm judging the shape of the skin between the eyebrow and the skin between the eyebrows. The size of that comes into play and how much space there is between the eyebrow and the ear. And then there'll be an adjustment, I think, in that jaw. So let me just fill in. Sometimes if I'm not sure when I'm doing an edge, like printing an edge, it helps me to actually occupy, to let the space be occupied with, to fill it in, to do something tonally, or like to fill the space in, to let me know more clearly what the shape is there. I'm just going to half close my eyes now. There's a shadow here that's quite significant. I'm going to half close my eyes, and then here too. And this isn't an example of using the same colour just because I've seen something and I want to just do it while I've noticed it, rather than going back and trying to make a precise colour. It feels like it is. It's possible to bring colour in later, but that seems like a fairly good, fairly accurate colour anyway, actually, for the shadow within the eye socket there. And it's, as I half close my eyes, it causes me to want to push this back too a little bit, which will kind of work for that space there. So there's kind of, sometimes it feels like minute changes that can be made, but it's not that you kind of manipulate for a long time. You just kind of do what you can in one place, a little nudge here, a little nudge there. And I think that keeps it a bit lively too. Never lingering for too long, especially early on. Never lingering for too long over any one element, any one little bit. And if the answer is coming easily, keep at it. If it's not, leave it alone and do something general somewhere else to take your mind off it. So a bit of this burnt sienna into the ultramarine blue again, I think, because now that I've brought in some more darks in the face, maybe I want to just bring some of that same kind of, to take some of the blue, I think, out of the top. I don't know why really. Maybe I just want to get that edged that might represent the shoulder coming in. And that I think is enough for there to make me want to go back up here again. So a bit of the edge. Let's see now, kind of noticing, the lowest point of the face, and if I were to draw a straight line up through the face, that would sit about to the right of the left eyebrow as I'm looking at him. So I know that from there it needs to start climbing. It's a little bit awkward, that brush, when I'm trying to do a shorter width. So let's see now, here. So we've got the inside corner of that eyebrow, which kind of meets the lowest point of the face here. And then there's this slightly, just a little lift upwards here, meet that eyebrow. And there's the edge of the neck as well, which maybe is a movable thing, but just now I'm going to continue focusing on the jaw, I think. And there's a steep-ish climb there. And I'm going to, before doing too much out here, I want to still make sure that it works within the face, that the distances in here are working too. And if it needs, like I was saying, a kind of a nudge here or a nudge there. Okay. Yeah, and my eyes are half closed here because I find that really does help to eliminate any unnecessary detail and to focus instead on those darks that are significant. There's a little dark sitting under the mouth there that might be helpful. And when it's dry enough, I can establish the line dividing the lips maybe. But there's something very satisfying in this looking and discovering. You're like windscreen wipers on top speed. You're kind of like gathering information and then transferring it, or seeing how does it differ from what's here. What's the next big thing, the next simplest thing I can do to make it, what's the next simplest thing I can do to make it read as what I'm noticing here. And the next simplest thing I think for me is to bring some warmth into the face over here. Like the cast shadow of the nose seems to be creating a little bit of a warm shadow. I'm never sure which brush is the best one to use here, but I think this one would be okay. So I've just mixed cadmium red and the yellow ochre in order to make a colour that's a bit warmer than it's a bit more accurate, I think, than the burnt sienna. I thought the burnt sienna was just too close again to the hair colour. So bringing that little bit of warmth into the skin. And I think I was saying to someone yesterday, where the light changes to dark, it often warms up, and also the extremities. So, is that time?
Time.
Okay, and I'll just finish that sentence. Also, the extremities. So, like the tip of the nose might feel a little bit warmer, and the ear might have a little bit more warmth in it. Areas of the neck and stuff. Thanks very much, Ross. That was great. Thank you. Yeah, he's a brilliant model as well, isn't he? He's sitting really still. So I think you'll enjoy it. Do whatever it takes for you to settle best you can. This is the key for anything, isn't it? Just find yourself in your body, and then see. And just even having a glance every so often, and try to avoid overwhelm. All of that has to be done on all of, on the white page. See if you can just manage to kind of do one step at a time and stand back. Maybe every third move in the beginning, stand back, like fencing with the easel. Or lean back if you're sitting. Just get that perspective so that you never chase one thing for too long. You're always dancing around the place a little bit. And I know you can do it. Like, it was lovely to see your work yesterday. There was so much heart in it as well. So, yeah, just do what you do. And maybe we'll have a little short break now before the first half hour. Or will we do 20 minutes? Or were you saying after half an hour? Okay. So, yeah. All right. I think maybe it did stay working. Bye.